If a company that has thrived for decades off the creativity of gay men and women who work for them won't proudly say, we stand with our LGBTQ plus employees because they have contributed so much to our company and its reputation and its success, if Disney won't stand up for gay and trans people, then as a gay man, I'd have to be a real fool to continue to support them with my money. The Florida House and Senate, both controlled by Republicans, have passed the Parental Rights in Education bill. It's since become known as the Don't Say Gay bill because it forbids kids to hear about gay people and the gay lifestyle in school. Now, I covered this bill in detail in a video last week, and I hope you will check it out. I will link to it at the end of this video and in the show notes below. What this bill does is prevent any mention of LGBTQ people in school, and that includes books that teach kids about diversity in gender or in partner preference. If you're a child in a Florida school and you have 2 dads or 2 moms, forget it, kid. That lifestyle cannot be mentioned because it's degrading. The problem for Disney, which runs a few little parks in the state of Florida and employs about 80,000 people there, is that they have quite a high number of gay, lesbian, and trans people who contribute to the company's artistry and have done so throughout the decades. Consider for a moment Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman was one of, and possibly the primary creative force behind the movie that resuscitated Disney animation in 1989, The Little Mermaid. He collaborated with Alan Menken and wrote songs for The Little Mermaid and for Beauty and the Beast and some of the songs from Aladdin. Howard Ashman was a proud gay man, and he died from heart failure caused by HIV/AIDS in 1991. In fact, the Disney film Beauty and the Beast is dedicated to him. He won Academy Awards for the songs Under the Sea and Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid initiated what became the Disney animation renaissance, and those 2 titles are still making billions for Disney to this day. 30 years later, there's cruise ships, and the Broadway musicals, and the toys, and the clothing, and the books, and everything in between. You have to wonder what Howard Ashman would think if he were alive today watching Disney twiddling its thumbs over standing up against this Don't Say Gay bill. Disney CEO Bob Chapek originally stated he wanted to keep Disney out of it, and in an email to employees said that the company could better change the culture through their product. That being the movies, the live shows, and the television programs that you're required to give Chapek's company money in order to enjoy. Well, that approach blew up in his face. LGBTQ employees and supporters were angered, and that spilled over to social media, and that led to protests and walkouts by Disney employees. You see, Disney employees, and I know because I used to be one, they are sold a bill of goods internally about inclusion and equality. But the first chance their CEO Bob Chapek had to stand up and prove it, he buckled. Finally, on March 7, Chapek backtracked and issued this statement: "I want to be crystal clear, I and the entire leadership team unequivocally stand for support of our LGBTQ plus employees, their families, and their communities, and we are committed to creating a more inclusive company and world." But this wasn't because Bob Chapek thought this was the right thing to do. Bob Chapek did this because of the backlash he received. He gave this statement because people put pressure on him, which leads me directly to the notion of boycotting Disney, a company who has made billions of dollars off of work by Ellen DeGeneres, Elton John, Nathan Lane, Jane Lynch, Rosie O'Donnell, Sir Ian McKellen, Demi Lovato, Raven-Symoné, and Howard Ashman. Boycott. Now, my starting a boycott isn't going to make a dent in Disney's profit. I know that. I don't even have kids. But that doesn't mean I don't shell out for Disney. I've got the movies and the park memorabilia and the music and the cell art. I went to the Disney park and spent a whole day there by myself just to take reference pictures so I could come home and paint the park so I could have a little of the Disney magic in my home. I grew up about 15 minutes from the park in Anaheim, and I would go there 7, 8, 10 times a year. Anytime I had enough money for a ticket. I was obsessed with Disney from as long as I can remember. But if Disney is going to take from the gay and trans communities and then not stand by them when Florida Republicans decide to score points with their donors by codifying prejudice into their laws, I can't give Disney any more money. I want to, I just can't. So goodbye, Disney Plus. I will be getting stoned and watching old game shows at night now instead of reliving my childhood watching Swiss Family Robinson and The Shaggy Dog and Old Yeller, all of which starred Tommy Kirk, who was fired from his contract at Disney when they found out he was gay. Kirk himself said this: "I consider my teenage years as being desperately unhappy. I knew I was gay, but I had no outlet for my feelings. The lifestyle was not recognized, and I was very, very lonely." That's what CEO Bob Chapek doesn't get. To eliminate the mentioning of existence means to isolate, to put someone aside and say, you don't matter. And not only do we not want to hear from you or about you, we're going to make a law so kids don't have to hear about you either. So if your kid is singing Be Our Guest and someone points out Howard Ashman, a gay man, wrote that song with Alan Menken and won an Academy Award for the work, in a Florida school, they'll be breaking the law. And I recognize Disney is in a tough spot, but the Walt Disney Company earned a global revenue of $67.4 billion in 2021. So don't feel badly for Bob Chapek. Disney isn't the only one who has to make a choice here. Because if you say you support LGBTQ plus youth, you have to decide, do I ignore this law like Disney is trying to do? Or do I sacrifice something? Do I keep my opinion to myself because I'm afraid of social media backlash? Or do I not only express myself and my disapproval, but back that up with actual actions? I'm not going to throw out my Disney merchandise. I'm not going to have a bonfire in my driveway. I'm not going to launch any sort of official boycott. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say right now that Chapek's latest revised statement is closer to what I'd like to see from Disney, but I'm not spending a dime on anything Disney themed until I see what the company does after Governor Ron DeSantis signs the Don't Say Gay bill into law, which he has already said he's going to do. What happens then? Does Disney shrug their shoulders and say, well, the law's the law? Will they resume financially supporting Republican lawmakers in a state run by Republicans where Disney has a giant business and where regulations and rules that dictate how much money Disney makes are often determined by the Republicans who control the economy in Florida? Do you think Disney's going to stop funding those politicians permanently? I mean, they could. The Disney empire would likely continue to endure, but it's not going to do it with me. Because to support Disney right here and now means turning my back on the LGBTQ plus community, and I'd have to be one real to do that just because I'm dying to see what happens next on The Mandalorian.